Lately I've been working a lot with redstone. So today we'll lower the steam and see another characteristic of the game. Today we'll talk about maps in cartography, so let's begin. The first item I want to see is the cartography table, so this is the receipt. We only need 2 papers and 4 planks, and we obtain it. This is the workstation for the cartographer. For only 7 emeralds, he can sell us the empty map. This is the first way to obtain the map. The second way to obtain it is by loot on villages where cartographers exist. And of course we can craft it, and this is the receipt. With 4 iron and 1 redstone dust, we first craft the compass, and with this we can craft the map. Just by surrounding it with paper. What we have to do is come to the area we want to map, and with right click inside this area, we reveal the map, and the first map we obtain is the smallest scale. If we drag the mouse over the map, we will see the scaling is 1:1 and the level is 0:4. This basically tells us that each block that is mapped out in this space is 1 pixel. And you will see that the area over here is marked out. So if we come to the center of this area, here in the coordinates, we will see that we're at the origin, 0, 0. Something that will happen, it doesn't matter in which point we are, as long as we are inside the area. At this scale, even if we come to this corner of this area marked out by this red square over here, this map will always appear centered to the coordinate 0, 0. So everything comes up to the origin over here, 0, 0. Now let's talk about the scales. So this is the smallest scale. But what if we want our map to print out a larger area? We can come to a crafting table, take our map, surround it with paper, and we obtain our scale 1:2, which is the following one. And the level is 1/4. We can do the same with our cartography table, which is cheaper because it only requires 1 paper. You can see at the next scale, our map is not reaching out to all the areas, because we cannot see areas that are so far. But the only thing we have to do is go to these areas, and as you can see here at the map, it continually reveals itself. You can see that the original map at the previous scale marks out in this red square I previously built. And in this scale, the area is 4 times larger, or which is the same, each of its dimensions is double. So let's get back to the base. We place the map here, and this map, which is the scale 1:2, is encapsulated in this area marked by the yellow square. And the scale 1:1 is inside the red square. And so we continually expand to larger areas. As you can see here with F3, as we expand the maps continue to expand to the areas pointed by the blue and red pointers, which indicate south and east respectively. And we continue to the scale. Here we are at scale 1:2. This is the scale 2:4. In this scale again, in order to register 1 pixel in the map, we need to duplicate the dimensions, or 4 times the area. Then the scale is 3/4. And the final scale is 4/4. From this size you will see that it is impossible to increase the scale. And here side by side you can see the different scales of maps. Here you see 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. In these last ones I didn't reveal the full area because it will take a long time. But in case you want to have the full maps, you will have to travel to these areas and map out all the terrain. So in order to map out a larger area, you'll have to choose what scale you desire and travel to all these areas in order to register all the terrain. As you can see in the following table, each level corresponds to each scale and registers a certain area, delimited by a square containing a lot of blocks. And in order for each pixel to be mapped out on the map, certain number of blocks are required. We can also make copies of these maps. We just need the reveal map and an empty map, and that way we obtain 2 copies. So we can leave one of these item frames and take the other one with us. If we travel to the area, we will see a marker on the map, which is the white one. This represents us. And we will see a green one, which represents a copy displayed on an item frame. And if we take another copy of the map and put it in another place, for example here, another green marker will appear. And that way, a green marker will appear on each copy of the map that is displayed on an item frame. And a white marker will appear for each player that has a copy of the map. So if another friend had a copy of the map and it runs around this area, we will see in real time where its position is. But for the time being we have no friends. So we can come to this area and make changes, and if we hold the map on our hands, the changes will be registered on real time. This also applies for every copy that is displayed on an item frame or in the hands of another player. Now, remember that items and item frames can adopt any of 8 positions on the frame, but maps can only have 4 positions. Now, something very interesting, if you remember our redstone components video, if we place a comparator behind the block where the item frame is, we can have a redstone signal. On position 1, the power is 1. On position 3, the power is 3. And so on so. On position 8, the power is 8. But remember that the maps can only adopt 1 out of 4 positions. On position 1, the power is 1. Position 2, the power is 2. Until position 4, power is 4. But if we take it to position 1 again, this doesn't register as position 1. It registers as position 5, position 6, position 8, the power is 8. And again, on position 1, power is 1. So in order to return to power 1, we need to flip the map 2 rounds. So what is useful about this? I have no idea. I leave that to you. Another thing we can do with maps is leave markers. So we just need banners of different colors. So let's place a banner in the floor. Right-click with a map, and you can see here the banner is registered on the map. So let's come to another place, place a blue banner, right-click, you can see it here. Now to another area, a green banner, right-click, you can see here the 3 positions. Now let's suppose we want to erase it, we can right-click again. Now let's come to another banner. As long as we're in the area and hold the map, in real time it will register if the banner is there or not. So we can even break it and the map will see that the banner doesn't exist anymore. Now we can also name the banners. Right click it, and the banner with the color and the name will appear. Remember that the names we are allowed to place on these banners are also limited by the number of characters permitted in the game. So we can place a super ultra mega very large name on level 10 on the banner and mark them out. But something that will happen is that the name will appear like this. The font size will be modified in order to appear here. So short names will be easily read, but names that are too long are practically impossible to read. In order to lock a map, we just need a glass pane. So we place in a cartography table a map and combine it with a glass pane. You'll see this icon in the shape of a lock. We take the map and you can see here it is locked. On locked maps, any change you make on this area will not be registered. So we come to here. If we try to make changes on blocks, it will not be registered. If we place banners and try to register them, you can see that the changes appear. But any changes regarding blocks or constructions will not change the map, because it is already locked forever. Now for the next section, I want to show you how to make a very large map and continue to map out a very large area. We just need to take an empty map and get out of the area that is registered on the first map. As you see here, our marker is an arrow, and at the moment I cross the border that limits this area, my marker will go to the edge and turn into a circle. This means I am already at the adjacent area. So here I take my empty map, right click, and now you can see that the map registers the adjacent area. And just do the same for every area you want to explore. We come here and see that the first map we made is already here. So we take the other three and place them in the correct positions. The first one we did to the east, the second one to the south, and the third one we return to the west. And that way we place them in the correct positions. Now, if we want to build a very large map, I advise you to pick a convenient area and build a map house. As you can see here, this is a map of a very large area surrounding our base. You just need to pick a scale and start mapping out the area as I previously showed you. Here I picked the scale 3 out of 4. An area of 1024 by 1024 blocks. Practically a square kilometer. We have also marked out with banners various areas of interest. Given that this is a very large map, I have chosen to place it on the floor instead of a wall, in order to not make an excessively tall wall. For this map that only registers our main base with more detail, I chose the smallest scale, level 0 out of 4, and place it on the wall. So this is the overworld, but let's see the other two dimensions and see how it works out. Here in the nether, we right click the map and see that it doesn't register anything, showing this weird texture. And you can see our pointer doesn't stop to rotate from one direction to another randomly. As you know, the nether's roof is made out of bedrock, so maybe this is the texture. But even though we build things over this bedrock, they will not be registered on the map. In the end, on the other hand, it works out perfectly. And we can do exactly the same thing we did previously. So if you ever wondered how the end looks on the maximum scale on 4 maps placed on the wall, well, this is it. You can see in the center the main island, and if we take enough banners, we can register every single one of the end cities and rate them. This is in order to not miss any of them. It seems like a very useful tool. Now there are 2 more applications I want to show you with the maps. You can see here I filled out all this area with white blocks. So with this we can build a wall that is perfectly white. You can see this corner made out of white concrete, which is the whitest white there is in the game, but we can still see the borders and shadows. And if we build the same corner with white maps, you can see we see none of them. As long as every one of these are appropriately illuminated. And here you can see the ender chest just below. We can see over the white maps these particle effects. So let's build a full room. The first recommendation is to build out a room with luminous blocks. So we go in and place an item frame on each of these blocks. And long and behold, I introduce to you the infinity room. Terrifying, isn't it? We can also build a small structure like a chair, and it appears that we are in middle of nowhere. We can come to meditate if that's what you want. And we can also, instead of having a one color background, we can make something like this, like a sky full of stars. So let's go back to our room and see how it looks. So we have this. Of course you can now see somewhat of the borders. You can see we are in a cube. But we can somewhat see that we are in outer space. And the last concept I want to show you this is a newspaper. We just need to find an area where we can build this. For the background, I chose white, like this one, and for this we can build it out of white stained glass. This presents 2 advantages. One is letting light pass through. And the other one is that when we want to come and make changes, we can come with our efficiency pickaxe and break out all the concrete, but it will not instant mine the glass. You can choose different font sizes for the different letters, for example the title, or the bulk of the information, and divide this by columns and separations. We can also make some images with pixel art. We can place different color blocks and come and change the news every now and then. So we can have here the main map, and just make copies of this and scatter them all around the world, give them to our friends or place them on item frames for everyone to read. So we can be a server with our friends and come and change the information, and if everyone else have copies of the same map, they will see the information update in real time and see all the changes. This can be at their bases, at a public place, and this information will update instantaneously, and they will see this in real time as long as when we come here to work, we have a map on our hand. So after working, we make copies, we can place them on walls, give them out to our friends, and in their bases they will see every changes, and for example have a weekly newspaper, and read them whenever they want. For example, I did this, but we can even increase the area. For example, take the adjacent area, the east, and make page number 2. For example, on the first one you can see here on the lower right corner, number 1. And that way we can make page number 2 and 3 and register even more news. So here we have the knowledge and information, and we can see that maps are a very useful tool in the game. These are the uses I found, but let's see what else you can come up with. So let's use this information and see what else we can find. This has been BigRoar161, and remember, I will be watching.